Hello, and thank you for watching Accelerate with Nerdio. In this video, I will walk you through a high-level overview of some auto-scale functionality, specifically for multi-user desktop pooled host pools. We will have other videos that go into greater detail on all of the features and functions, but relative to this series that's going to walk through setting up Nerdio Manager for MSP, adding an account, and then configuring the resources needed to demo, we'll just talk about this at a high level. Please be sure to check the video description for links to the other videos in this series, and always check out help.nerdio.net for access to all of our content. With that, I'm going to jump right in. Here is that host pool we created. I'm going to click the drop down. I'm going to go to Auto Scale and Configure. And again, I just want to go over this at a high level. There are numerous use cases for how you can leverage auto scale, and there are a lot of different configurations, logic, and metrics that can be used to set it up. So let's just kind of talk about it high level. When you first build the pool, you will be prompted with the option to enable auto scale at that time. When you do this, you're going to have a few things that you can configure, right? So auto scale at the high level is your ability to scale in and out hosts based on certain criteria. So what we first are setting here is the naming prefix, the desktop image, and the sizing that's going to be used as those hosts get built. We also have an option to decide whether or not we want to reuse host names. This can have impact on specific services that are looking for certain naming conventions, or if you want to continue to reuse named hosts as they get rebuilt. So now that that's configured, we look at host pool sizing, right? So an active host can be defined two ways, with VM started or with agent available. And again, we'll go deeper into these in other lessons. We're going to set our base host pool capacity, right? So this is the amount of hosts that our pool will ever contain. The minimum active host capacity, so the minimum amount of hosts that should exist in this pool, and then the ability to burst beyond that capacity if needed. Next, we'll see that there's scaling logic. So there are at least three different ways that you can trigger what sets off an auto scale activity to occur. We'll see we have CPU utilization, active session average, and available session. In this example, I'm using available sessions, meaning that we want to make sure that we're setting the max amount of users or sessions that occur per host, right? So this is a great way to say I want to have a certain amount of resources on every host, and I want to assume that the baseline amount of those resources available is divided across a certain amount of users. We'll notice that we have some other scale-in restrictions that can get set, and again, we'll go deeper into these. Pre-stage hosts. So this is stating, right, based on my work hours or a certain time of day and days of the week, that's when I want to make sure that there is a set amount of hosts that are going to be active. Now, we're talking about things that actually scale hosts out, right? Creating additional hosts or creating the amount of hosts that should be available. What happens when hosts are scaling in or removing those additional hosts in the pool because they're no longer needed or no longer triggered based on metrics? So this is the messaging that can occur to your users, right? Letting them know, hey, this host is going to disappear, but if you remove yourself, log out, and then log back in, you'll be placed on a host that's going to continue to be available because the scale in activity has finished. So, those are some of the key factors that you'll set up regards to auto scale. And again, there will be multiple videos that are going to drive use cases around best practices with that. I also want to point out that there's an option to auto heal broken hosts in here as well. This is a really amazing feature where you can trigger different agent statuses on the hosts, and then whether or not they have sessions, and then it will try to self-heal by restarting the hosts. And then if the reboot, right, we think about services and things like that, generally your reboot might fix it, doesn't resolve the issue, it can leave the host in an unreachable state to new users, but a state where you could RDP to it and maybe further investigate what happened, or it can simply remove it and recreate it. So the impact these decisions will kind of reflect on how many hosts are in the pool and how many are available. And so it's important to really understand this. So again, we will touch on all of these in much greater detail across multiple videos. But the biggest thing you really want to think about as you create a pool is what is an active host defined as and how many hosts do you want to have available, right? Because that's going to drive your cost. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this lesson. Please check out the other videos in this series and always visit help.nerdio.net for access to all of our content. Have a great day.